So we left off in 2 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter, verse 1. I want to read that again. Shaul, our brother Paul, Shaul, called Paul in common terminology, says in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 1, he says, "Do we begin again to commend ourselves, or need we add some other epistle of commendation to you, or letters of commendation from you? Ye, or you, are our epistle written in our hearts, known and read of all men." So when men see you, they are looking to see Yah, not to see you, not to see you hating the nations, but to see you as a representative of the Most High Yah. You let Yah do his business and you do your business as what's required by you according to Yah. We're not the judge. We are to be the nation of priests to lead the other nations back to the Most High. And we can't lead a nation back to the Most High if we're fighting the people. We have to share truth, not with our own personal feelings or objectives, but we have to share the truth of the Most High according to as his Spirit guides and leads us. All right? Verse 3, he says, "For as much as you are manifestly declared to be the epistle of the Messiah," that's who we are, "ministered by us, written not with ink, but with the Ruach of the living Elohim, not in tables of stone, but in fleshly tables of the heart." So we are the epistles that he has written in. We are written, the epistle written, not with ink, but with the Ruach. So as we are led by the Spirit, by the Ruach, we are that epistle written by the Spirit for men to read our lives, to read and see how we present our bodies, as Romans 12 says, a living sacrifice unto the Most High. Now, let's look at 1 Kepha, or Peter, chapter 2, verse 1. He says, "Wherefore, laying aside all malice," in case you don't understand, jealousy, evilness, whatever that might be, "and guile, hypocrisies and envyings, and all evil speaking." That means that we don't hate on the Gentiles and say white man's the devil. You need to check your spirit, brothers, on that. You know who you are. How can you evangelize to a world when you are destroying them with your foul mouth and using profanity and filth and representing the chosen people with that garbage? Check your spirit. The Most High is not pleased with that. You know you are. You've been on the Jerry Springer show and you just acted the fool in the presence of the world when it was a grand golden opportunity for you to reach out to the Israelites in captivity and to the other Gentiles to let them know the reality of the truth of who we are as a people and what we failed at and what our commission is in this hour. And let Yah do his business. It's not for your business to hate anybody. It's your business to do what you are commissioned to do and let Yah do the hating. If Yah hates Esau, then let Yah do the hating. You do the loving. You have the compassion. You be the sower to sow the word and let the wheat grow with the tare. And let Yeshua the Messiah do the separating when he comes. And don't do his business. Now, so he says, verse 2, 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 2. "As newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that you may grow thereby. If so be that you have tasted that Yah is gracious, to whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of Elohim, and precious." So you've been chosen. Chosen to do what? To reach the other sons of Adam. To tell them that the paganism that you have been indoctrinated with is straight from Satan. And now we're going to show you a more better way to return to the Most High, to return to his law, to return to his statute, to return to his covenant, and get away from that paganism, those false deities, those false names, those false days of worship, those false birthdays, and those false paganistical celebrations, and return to the Most High. That's our responsibility. Not to conform to the world, but to be transformed by the renewing of the mind. Now, so he says, "You are lively stones, are built up a spiritual house and a Kadesh priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifice acceptable to Elohim by Yeshua the Messiah." So we have been declared through Yeshua to be reinstituted back to the priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices, and to be that living epistle written by the Ruach Kadesh, by the Spirit of the Most High. Hallelujah. And so he says, let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 16. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 16 says, "Know ye not that ye are the temple of Elohim?" Do you know that? So we need not to act unseemly, because we are the temple of the living Elohim. And the Spirit of Elohim dwelleth in you. So the spirit of wickedness, the spirit of evilness doesn't dwell in you. Now, we're talking about keeping the Passover. We're talking about keeping the feast days, okay? How do we keep the feast days outside Jerusalem? We are the temple, and as we present our bodies a living sacrifice unto the Most High, as we surrender our total being to him, and we allow our hearts to be circumcised to serve the true and the living Elohim, then we keep the feast days, because we are the sanctuary in the lands where we have been scattered. Now, so he says, verse 17, 1 Corinthians chapter 3, "If any man defile the temple of Elohim, him shall Elohim destroy." Remember, you have a responsibility. You are the temple of Elohim. When people see you, they have to see the Father. You don't conform to the world. You don't agree with sin. You tell people, you warn people, you cry loud, spare not, show the house of Israel their transgressions and the house of Yaakov their sin. Okay? Don't conform, but don't be a browbeater at the same time. Teach it and live it. Okay, now, so he says, "For the temple of Elohim is Kadesh, or set apart," which temple you are. That's who you are. Now, look at Hebrews chapter 3, verse 1. Hebrews chapter 3, verse 1 says, "Wherefore, set apart brethren, partakers of the heavenly calling." We are partakers of the heavenly calling. Make no mistakes about that. "Consider the apostle and high priest of our profession, the Messiah, Yeshua, who is faithful to him that appointed him, as also Moshe was faithful in all his house. For this man was counted worthy of more glory than Moshe, inasmuch as he who had builded the house had more honor than the house." Isn't that powerful? "For every house is builded by some man, but he that buildeth all things is Elohim. And Moshe verily was faithful in all his house as a servant, for a testimony of those things which were spoken after. But the Messiah as a son over his own house, whose house are we, if we hold fast to the confidence and the rejoicing of the hope from firm unto the end. Wherefore, as the Ruach Kadesh," verse 7, "saith, Today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation in the day of the temptation in the wilderness." See that? When your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my works 40 years. Wherefore I was grieved with them, that generation, and said, they do always err in their heart, and they have not known my ways.